I will always welcome talking about climate in this chamber. I do wish today, though, that we had the implementation plan for the climate action plan, because the key is in it's in the clues in the title. We need to see action, and it's not just myself or other members of the opposition who are saying that we need to move from talk to action. It's the Climate Change Advisory Council, it's the EPA. So I think hopefully we will have statements again once the implementation plan is published, because I think that's going to be very important. I also welcome the fact that the Minister for the OPW was in here earlier on and was talking about adaptation, because I do think that oftentimes we do forget adaptation when we talk about climate. And it is clear that climate change is happening. It's happening now, and it's happening in Ireland. And I think a major part and a major contribution must be in how we deal and how we adapt to the changing climate we're seeing, and also what's coming down the road to us, and preparing communities to deal with that. I only have 6 minutes, unfortunately, so I'm just going to quickly go through my key points. I have repeatedly raised in this chamber my fears about this government meeting the targets that it sets, and the whilst they're very thorough and they're welcome, we do need to see the actual targets we met. We need to see the delivery of these measures, and that's key. This climate action plan talks about taxation policy. I was very disappointed that the government did not take the Social Democrats' proposal in relation to putting a zero VAT on solar equipment and solar services. I think that was a real opportunity that you missed there. This is provided for and allowed for under an EU directive, and I think this government should have actually brought that zero VAT rule in for solar. And again, I would also ask that the Minister relook and rethink about actually investing properly in solar for communities, and to take a look at the Social Democrats' policy in relation to that, which would be a large state intervention when it comes to rolling out solar panels across estates across this country and houses across this country, because that would help people deal with their electricity bills, it would help with the pressures on our grid, and it would also help with our climate policies, and I think that's very, very important. I do also want to just mention and ask that the Minister, in relation to the Climate Change Advisory Council, I think I would like to see someone with biodiversity experience on that council, because we cannot deal with climate and biodiversity separately. They are two issues that are so co-joined that they do need to be dealt with together. And my understanding is at the moment there isn't a biodiversity or an ecologist specialist, particularly a terrestrial one, on the Advisory Council. I think there may be a marine biologist on, but I do think that there should be a greater focus within that committee on biodiversity. Today, though, I do want to primarily talk about just transition. The Climate Action Plan has a large chapter on just transition, and when government talks about climate action, it continually refers to just transition and how it is important to bring communities along with us when we were dealing with climate action and putting in measures to deal with climate. In fact, the Climate Action Plan says that government will maximise employment opportunities and support persons and communities that may be negatively affected by the transition to a zero carbon economy. Minister, the plans by Oireachtas to partner with an international investment fund to plant forestry in Ireland as a climate initiative, that absolutely flies in the face of the whole concept of just transition in Ireland. Flies in the face of just transition. This government is using its funds through the ISIF. It is subsidising this partnership between Oireachtas and a UK investment fund. Grant aiding will go to this investment fund as well to enable international investors to buy up land and profit from it. That will, without doubt, push up land prices for farming communities across this country. Oireachtas said that they don't believe it will happen. Without a doubt, it's going to happen, because there is only so much land in Ireland. And if you have UK investors that are being subsidised by a state government to purchase land, it can only push up prices. What we need this government to use some of the €5 billion in surplus this year to invest in rural communities, invest in local grassroots climate action, to invest in our climate future and to invest in biodiversity. If we offshore this, what we are doing is essentially facilitating a land grab by international investors. This is similar to what we've seen in housing policy that Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil and yourselves have overseen over the last number of years. When it comes to health, we see prioritisation of large corporates. And now, yet again, we are going to see this and experience when it comes to climate action. And it is not good enough, Minister. And I am pleased to hear some of the backbenchers in Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael talk about this as well. And I hope that you listen to it. Now, I understand that this isn't primarily Minister Ryan's portfolio, but this is a major issue. It is a climate action issue, and the Minister needs to get involved. Absolutely needs to get involved. And obviously this is Minister Hackett's area as well. It cannot be allowed to happen. We need to invest in rural communities. We need to assist people who will be disadvantaged by climate measures that we need to take. Without a doubt, it's going to be very difficult for our rural communities to deal with this, for our farming communities to deal with it. There will be changes that government will expect of them that they will have to implement, and it will impact them financially and socially unless the government supports them. And this is the very antithesis of supporting them. What this is doing is supporting international investors to take land away from them. So, Minister, I would ask that you have a conversation with Minister Ryan and that you sit down with Minister Hackett and with Minister McConalogue and that you actually knock this plan on the head. Because this is not how you deal with just transition. This is not how you deal with climate action within local and rural communities. Thank you.